next level coaching. And so that for you that don't know, next level coaching is for both lenders and realtors now. In the last few months, we've taken it outside. It started as an internal program for just Summit Funding loan officers, which is how this mastermind event actually started. I used to do a mastermind event for just my branch. And then I took over Next Level. We started doing for Next Level. And with Jonas, we kind of he did a way better job promoting it. And then Marjorie and I both worked for a coaching company called The Core Training for a while. Um, and so we have a friendship and a business relationship from a long time ago. And frankly, Marjorie's a really good business realtor coach, business coach, and but more than that, she enjoys it, like she likes it, like she seeks it out, and it doesn't pay that great, to be frank, but it's super fulfilling. It's kind of like being a high school football coach a little bit, It's like it's a passion project, and the same thing for me. I've been coached my whole life in sports and been a coach since I was 19, either in sports or in business. And so it fulfills those things for us. So we decided to take it outside. So it's available to realtors and lenders, both inside and outside of Summit. We're super excited about it. We already have 15 coaching students that are realtors. And our goal is to be up to about 100 within a year and a half. And add realtor coaches, but you can learn more about that at our upcoming event, which Marjorie will tell you about. The reason that I work with Marjorie is three things. Number one is she's really, really good at real estate, like above and beyond everything else. She does a lot of business, and she's a boutique agent, which means she doesn't give you numbers that are really just her broker shop. Like sometimes tell you, oh, my team, and they're really just a broker with an office with 10 agents. And sure, that's a team. I'm not judging anybody. That's fine. But I'm talking about the numbers that she has are truly her deals that she originated and closed. So she knows how to teach it and she knows how to do it. We have a belief in our coaching program that if you're going to be a coach for us, you got to do a lot of business, because why else would someone hire you to help them? So she fits that box. Number two is, if you haven't seen her in public yet on stage, she's a very good public speaker, really good. Her content is on point. And the last thing is that she has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever met. Like she just cares a lot. And sometimes I'm like, whoa, 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 you're giving too much for free. Stop, like she just cares. She has a big heart and she cares a lot. And she's got a lot of great stuff to share with you today. So I won't take any more time babbling with my friend Marjorie Adams. Kick some butt, Marjorie girl.
Thank you so much. So thank you guys for being here. It is 3 o'clock Eastern. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you all to turn on your cameras and I want you to get ready to take some notes. I want you to really spend the next hour as much as possible, not docu-signing something to send to someone, answering an email because a client is complaining about something or going, oopsie, I should have done this. So I'm a full-time, as Jim said, realtor. I do this for my living. This is my bread and butter. I love coaching. I have a podcast. I love podcasting, but I make my living and support my family doing real estate. So we're going to talk about generating warm leads. We're going to talk about standing out in this market. And I think it's really important that we also kind of go back a little bit and look at where people are struggling. So because I coach people and I talk to people every day, and I just had lunch with some realtors not long ago, talked about, okay, we're going to talk about 3 keys to success in real estate. Now, it's in real estate, it's in business, and it's in life. I want you to write these down because everyone right now that's struggling is struggling with one of these 3. So 1 is your mindset. So our mindset. 2 is our skill set. 3 is our actions. So mindset, skill set, actions. Okay. So where are you struggling? So if you write these down, I want you to write down mindset, skill set, actions. I want you to circle the one you think you're struggling with. Now, you might circle all 3 of them, and that's okay. We're going to work on that. But I want you to be really honest, because no one's looking at what you're doing right now except for you, right? So let's talk about your mindset. And I want you to be super honest when you answer these questions, because this is important. So would you say you're optimistic or pessimistic? Are you optimistic or pessimistic, right? Do you understand that like this is the best market to stand out in? You're optimistic, or you're pessimistic because everything's changed. It's hard, rates are bad, market's tough, right? Like, are we optimistic or pessimistic, right? Okay. Are you tired and bored or hungry and excited? So I have a lot of friends. I've done this a long time. I'm 29 years in. We just talked about that. It's like, whoo, it's a long time. And I'm hungry and excited. I think this is like the best opportunity we've had in a long time. I have a lot of realtor friends that are tired or bored, right? They're like, I'm bored. And I've, gosh, I don't know how you can be bored right now, but I want you to think about that. I want you to think about how you're defining yourself right now. Like a lot of people are like, I'm not fill in the blank, right? I want you to think about when you say this. I'm not a runner. I'm not actually, I'm not a runner, but I'm not a runner. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a this, right? And then it's like, really, are you not? So I want you to be paying attention to what you say you're not, because I promise you're saying you're not, you're not. I want you to think about, do you love or hate change? Right? When someone's like, change, are you like, yes? Or are you like, oh no, like who moved my cheese? What do I do? Right? So I want you guys to be really think about this, and I'm going to be super honest right now. But you need to hear this because I'm really talking about this every day, and I'm talking to people at night on the phone about this. This is the market we're in. We either have to change and adapt to this market, get back into the game, get back to excited, get back to loving what we do, or it might be time to exit. And that sounds really hard, but I'm having some really honest conversations for people that are like, I'm going to wait for the right time. It's not really the right time to adapt. It's not really the right time for me to grow my business. It's not really the right time for that. And honestly, I disagree 100%. And I think that anyone who's not adapting and anyone who's not really pushing it right now, the market's going to kind of, you're going to fall behind. It's going to grow ahead of you and you're going to fall behind. So I'm going to tell you, if you write down anything as well, I need you to take full responsibility. So you're going to write, I take full responsibility for where I am right now. Now that's hard, right? It is, because people are like, well, there's this and this. No. So the problem is you. Problem is me, right? So ultimately, what we're struggling with right now, if we're going to be super honest, comes down to what I did do, what I did not do, right? I took 3 months off work. I did not prospect. I did not evolve. I did not change my presentations, right? And that's the end of the story. So if we really look at it, if I don't have enough leads right now, which I would love more leads, guess whose fault that is? My fault. It just is, right? I can blame the market. I can blame you guys. I can blame the economy. I can blame the presidential election. I can blame anything I want. But if I don't have enough leads, if I don't have enough closings, it's my fault, right? If I'm not innovating in the business, it's my fault. It's just not the market's fault, right? So I want you to think about that. And tied in with that is, do you have a fundamental belief in scarcity or abundance? Right. And I think about it, scarcity, too much competition, not enough homes on the market, not enough sellers moving. You're sort of always chasing transactionally, right? Like this is a transactional market. I got to get mine, right? I have to get mine. If someone else is winning, it's because I'm losing. Like there's only so much. So if someone else in the market's doing well, they're just taking my market, right? Does that make sense? So yes, ninja philosophy, you're right. That is ninja. So abundance means there's enough business out there for everyone, because frankly there is. Because let's be honest, I don't work in every price point. I don't work in every location around me. I don't work with every buyer. I don't work with every seller, right? There is abundance out there, right? There are more opportunities than what I'm seeing, right? And so for me, that means sharing success with others, right? Sharing what works. Because frankly, I really believe we all succeed together, or as an industry, we all fall together. Right. I really do. I think the lenders and realtors, we bring each other through, or we're all in trouble. So this is how I see the world. And I want you to really think about what you wrote down, right? Do you feel like your mindset's an issue? Do you feel like you're an optimist? Do you think change is good? Are there a lot of things that you're not? So this is where everything starts, is mindset. I promise you, because I can work on everything else with you. But if your mindset's a mess, the rest isn't going to matter, because you're not going to be in it, right? You're not going to have everything set for success. Now, skill set. So I've done this 29 years, right? So I could say, I know how to do this. I've been a realtor for 29 years. I've been a realtor since the dawn of time, right? But no, I am reading more. I am learning more. I have gone to more conferences, more classes. I'm upgrading my skills. I'm learning how to speak more effectively. I am really reaching out. I'm listening to more podcasts. I have more connections of people that are, you got to do this and I need you to work on that. So I want you to take note right now. What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? What classes are you taking? Are you working on your negotiation skills? Are you working on your marketing skills, right? So, for months and months and months, I studied the lawsuits, right? Time to move forward. They've happened. We're moving on. So, we're not going to talk about the lawsuits anymore, right? Time to grow. I've redone my listing and buyer presentation multiple times. I will continue to do that. So, right now, what am I learning? I'm learning things like blockchain. I'm learning about AI. I'm learning about tokenization. I'm learning about chatbots. I'm studying predictive analytics and generative generative AI. It's like, oh my, right? It sounds like something from Wizard of Oz. Um, I have to learn these things because it's the future. So I need you guys to really think about it. Like people, especially that are like, I'm bored. I'm like, how do you have time to be bored? I'm learning about all these things that we need to evolve into that I need to be able to teach my students. So think about it. Have you updated your skill set? Right? Or is it still 5 years ago I learned this? My listing presentation, you could blow it off, right? Because it's so old. So I want you to think about it. And then there's actions. Okay. So we all have been to many seminars. Like this isn't new. You've gone to webinars, right? You've gone, you've got a pile somewhere of all the stuff you mean to do with social media and all the things that you know you need to add to your listing or buyer presentation. And you know that you have to have a checklist for intaking your clients. You know this, right? But the action and the implementation isn't happening. And so we have to think, well, why? So how do we get it done? Most of the time, it's because we're so stuck in the weeds of our business, right? The day to day, I got to make sure this is done and this is done. Not that they're not important, but we're not structuring our time. We're not structuring our schedules, right? And because we have fires and emergencies all the time, we just sort of skip over these things and then no one's holding us accountable, right? So I want you to think about that. So mindset, skill set, actions. So which one do you need to work on first? Or which is the major problem? Because I will tell you, if you really focus on this, then you can really drill into what's holding you back. What do you need to work on, right? If it's skill set, what classes do you need to take? If it's mindset, it's what are you listening to? How are you starting your day, right? And then actions, it's how do we organize our day? How do we get our processes set? And we can work on all of these things, right? But I need you to pay attention to those things. So that's step one. So I need you to really think about it, like own this. It's not for me, right? I mean, I know my many problems. It's like we got to know what you guys are struggling with. Now let's talk about this market, right? That was for you guys in general. In this market, I'm going to say one bad word here, so I'm going to apologize in advance. It's not that bad. So, guys, we got to be motivated. We got to get positive, and we got to get some shit done. Like you guys got to get some stuff done. Like anyone who's not adapting yet to the changes, come on, get over it. Lawsuits happening. We got to learn these skills. We got to be killing it in our buyer presentations, right? We got to think about this, whatever we're doing that worked 2 or 3 years ago, is it working now? Like the way I got clients 20 years ago, yes, I still use some of them now, but we've got to innovate. We've got to be learning. And I want you guys to write down disruption is fantastic. Now, I know you're all like, she is on crack. I'm not on crack. Disruption is fantastic because guess what? What happens in disruption? Those people that were killing it, that get lazy, fall behind. The people that are grinding right now and learning, get ahead. So if you don't understand, like the way we change, the way the market changes, the leaders changes is because of disruption. So it's go time, right? So now is our time. Two, have a plan, right? We got to be motivated, then we got to get a plan. And your plan has to be like in writing, scheduled, step by step with some accountability, right? Like otherwise it's a wish, right? So we got to have a plan. What are you going to do by when? How are you going to get this done? Who's going to help you? How are you going to time block it into your already crazy day? And then three, you got to stick with it. The problem is we all have ideas, right? It's like people who I coach on farming. I sent a postcard. I didn't get any listings. Magic. You mean you called, made one phone call and the entire market doesn't work with you, right? It's this plan and we got to stick with it. So think about this. Now we're going to start talking about generating some warm leads. I really wanted to start with getting our systems and everything in our mindset set. So for generating warm leads, I need you to kind of go backwards to go forwards. Okay. I need you to think about and look at your current market, not my market, not what they say on the news. Don't watch the news, not what you're hearing from other people, your personal market, right? So, what I mean by that is who is moving right now in your market, the people you work with, right? So, in our area, a lot of my movers are first time home buyers and then downsizers. So this year, and how do I know that? Because I went through my closings for 2023 and 2024. I went through and go through every single lead. Why are they moving? So if it's a seller that's moving or a buyer that's moving, why? And a lot of them is my first time home buyers that have waited so long, they need to get into something. And then my downsizers, right? Their kids are gone, moving to be closer to family, either coming here to be closer to family or going away to be closer to family. Have you really dialed into your leads, your market? Because remember, I could have an agent right down the hall from me and their market can be different because who are their database that are moving? What are they seeing? Someone could be an influx of people moving into a company that their spouse works with. So if you're not paying attention to that, as well as looking at the listings coming on your market, ours, tons of townhouses, tons of them, tons of townhouses right now and over $1 million houses, right? So we have these gluts in certain prices. Are you paying attention to what's coming on the market and what's selling? Because if you're not, you have your, oh, the market stinks and nobody's moving. Well, there's certain areas that are moving. It could be pockets of town. It could be neighborhoods. It could be price points. It could be demographic or geographic. You have to pay attention to your market, right? Which leads us into then who else is moving and why. You all know why people move. Life changes, right? So you have to look for life changes. We hear this all the time. This is a warm lead presentation, but we're not necessarily paying attention. So the great thing about social media is you can see life changes. I got a new job. We had a baby. Kids have gone to college, right? Most of the time, people aren't celebrating divorces on there, but divorces are big life changes as well. So, what are we looking at? We're seeing the social media posts when we're running into people we know. I have my kids are now both out of the house, so I have a mass audience of my friends who are empty nesters. Now, most of us aren't moving because we're low early 50s. I just turned 53, empty nesters, but in 10 years, we're going to be talking about moving, right? So, what are we doing? What are we paying attention to? And then who's not moving, right? That's equally important. Because if I have a farm or geographic area or whatever it is and nobody's moving or a demographic. So think about it. If someone bought, let's say 3.5 years ago, they got a 2.875% interest rate and they paid 150,000 over asking. Are they moving next year? Now, if they have a life change, yes. Otherwise, no. So, right. So we have to pay attention to what are the markets doing? If you're paying attention to how often people are moving now. So if you pay attention to NAR reports, don't worry about what you think of NAR, read the reports. People are now saying they're going to stay in their homes for 14 years. So if you're like me and you were making really a bulk of your transactions on people moving every 3 to 5 years, if they're now moving every 14 years, what does this mean? I need another pillar of business, right? I can't just count on the continuing moving of my previous clients. Now I can get more referrals out of them, but they're going to move less often, right? So paying attention to this is absolutely step one because what's working and what's not, who's moving and who's not, right? Like really understanding. And then because I know, for example, my area, that we have a glut of people that need first floor living homes because they have 2-story homes. Who should I farm? Them, right? Who should I get in front of? The first time home buyers. By the way, the average age of a first time home buyer now is 35, right? So how about we talk to the people correctly? People in their 30s that are like, man, I'm never going to own a house. Yes, I am. Yes, you are. 35 years old is the average, not 26, right? People don't understand that. So how are we getting in front of those people? Right? I need you to really, really think about this because we're all thinking, we'll talk about herd mentality a little later, but everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to do this. If we all do it, it's not going to work, right? Because everyone's going to go there. So let's think about how do we get in front of these people? So we have our databases, but let's really think about other things. What do we need to be paying attention to? So one, I will absolutely say You need to pay attention. I said this before, to social media, what you're seeing that your clients and your VIPs are doing, but you also need to be feeding those clients. If I specialize in first-time home buyers, I have to really be making sure that my content is really geared towards first-time home buyers. I need to talk about tips and tricks and education and videos for that audience. If I'm the expert in downsizers, I need to be educating people on staging and services that can help them downsize and move, and how I get their house ready to sell and the steps that I take. So we have to really be paying attention to getting in front of them, but also understanding what they need. That's one way, right? Our past clients is another way. So I think we all do keeping in touch with our past clients wrong. I really do. I think what we think is that by spamming them or by telling them how many houses we sell, that we're keeping in touch with them. We're really marketing to them in that way. So I want you guys to think about, like, if we're going to be really taking care of those past clients, we're going to provide ongoing value to them, not about us. Right. So it's not how fantastically wonderful you are in the cubic zirconia club you're in, and that you make 80 bazillion dollars, right? You're in the $1 million club. They think you made $1 million, just so you know. And we show up in that way. It's like, how do we provide value to them in that time of ownership? Right? How are we helping them? Like right now, everyone's like, okay, you should be reaching out to everyone and see if they need to refi. So I went through my entire database of buyers for 2.5 years. I've got 2 people, 2 that I called that need to refi. So it's like one size fits all doesn't work for everyone either. Okay. So past clients, how are we taking care of them? How are we staying relevant? I'm going to give you some tips on this. Our VIP relationships and business partners. I think this is a huge miss for most of us. So we have our, hopefully, like you're on this right now, you've got your strong lender partners, lenders, you have your realtor partners. And I think we need to be helping each other, and we need to be really working on what we're seeing. But if you're not creating a mastermind, like if you do anything else that I talk about other than fix your mindset, if you're not creating a mastermind of your VIP business people, you're crazy. Because think about it this way, like we talk about our teams. So for me, I have my internal team. It's small. There's only 4 of us, and actually one person's marketing on the outside right now. So I've got my bullseye, we'll call it my internal team. And then I got my second team, which are my business partners, right? And my business partner is my closing attorney, title rep, insurance person, home inspector, me, my mover, my financial planner, my accountant, like my second team. And we mastermind and we help each other grow our businesses, and what are we struggling with and how can we get in front of more people, right? So do you have a mastermind of your business people locally that you really say, these are my peeps? Like, right, these are my ride or dies, right? That we take care of people, that we refer people. Are you guys doing that? Because if you're not, that is absolutely not only a fun strategy, because listen, if you don't want to hang out with them, they're probably not the right. If you're like, ugh, I can't stand my attorney, get another attorney. But figure out those people that, look, we share books, we share resources. I work with them on how they can help with marketing. I might send my clients a letter about them or do a video on them. We might host an educational event. There's all these things that we can do. So masterminds. And then the best part is you ask them to bring someone in, right? Their trusted business partner that you don't know, and you bring them in. Now you vet them, because obviously they're cray-cray. You might not want them, but it is a great way to grow those resources. So masterminds, very simple. Warm leads, remember? Relationships, people who trust you and like you, people that have a book of business like yours. So create a mastermind. And then another one that's sort of a duh that I think a lot of us don't think about is HR directors. Now, if people are coming into town, they need somewhere to live. And if they're hiring them, they have jobs. So let's talk about what can we do for them. So one thing that we've started doing is didn't even get directly to the HR director, because they're sort of like the hidden secret somewhere. But I ended up working for someone who got hired and then said, hey, I'd love to offer tours to those people in your department that are coming in, because I know that if they love the area, like the tour I gave you, that they're going to want to come work there. And then I get to work myself up to the HR managers or the directors for departments, especially in medical departments. So like I work with everyone from the psychology departments, because I give tours. And once they hear that, they will tell other departments. So figure out ways that you can get in front of some of these people and do them a favor, give them a lifestyle tour. If someone moves to town, they got to love the town. It's not just the job, but how are they going to integrate into the community? And that's what I can do. So figure out who of your clients, right, is either in hiring or has been hired, is in a larger company, and ask them to help you and say, here's what I love to do. I'd love to take families around and we can show them the soccer fields and where the doctor's offices are. And we can really show them why Charlottesville, don't say Charlottesville, that's where I live, is the best place for them to be. So if you're not doing that, another thing that you can really do. Another thing for your homeowners insurance agents. So this is one thing, I don't know why people don't think of this more too. So if you are really tight with a homeowners insurance agent, which you should be, do you know what happens once a year? Two things. One, it's called a renewal. Now, why wouldn't you renew your insurance? Maybe you hate your insurance agent. That would be bad. But second is, right, you're moving. So if there is renewal time with with your homeowner's insurance and they say, oh no, we're thinking of moving, so we want to price this out, or we're not going to renew because we're going to move. If you're in a great relationship with them, you can ask them to say, oh, are you interviewing realtors? You should talk to Marjorie. The best also is they have renters policies. People stop renters policies because they want to purchase. That's what we want, right? Bye rental. Hello, buy with me. So if you can team up with them, you can look at these renewal times that you can generate these warm leads from these business partners of yours. So we're thinking warm leads, right? These are tactics for you to get these leads. These are things for you to think about that, frankly, to me are fun. Now, if you're not a people person, you're probably in trouble in this business, but then you got to meet more people. So you might have the smallest mastermind of you and a couple people, and you grow it systematically. You might not have a great homeowners insurance agent that you're teamed up with. Then go find one, right? Like, so these are strategies, because would you rather do that, or would you rather pick up the phone and start like in a cold database list of people? I would not like to do that. So I'd like to start on the warmer end, right? So I want you to think about it. And then as you're thinking about these things as well, as we have people that are struggling right now, you know why they hire you, right? Like, I wish I could open this up, but why do people hire a realtor? I don't know. See if people can put in the chat. Why do people hire you? Let's see. No one. Oh, hold on. Reputation. Okay. Yes. They like you. Oh, gosh, these are getting good now. Okay. So convenience, expertise, and guidance. They trust you. You're real. Yeah. Hey, girl. Expert marketing. Your charm. Oh, so charming. Okay. They were first in the door. Nice. Okay. So these are all correct, but you understand they have a need and you're solving a problem, right? If you really boil it down, yes, they're going to pick you because you're a great negotiator. You bring value, your charm, definitely, Darren, go for it. You are an expert, which we have to demonstrate because of your marketing. They pick you for that, but you're solving a problem, right? If they need to sell, there is this problem. They need to sell their home, and whether it's quickly, they have a lot of work to do, they're massive hoarders, whatever it is, right? So if you think about it, what problems are you solving? So I will tell you, if we don't have enough sales, we're not solving enough problems. Does that make sense? Like, they have a problem. Now, I don't want you to go knocking on doors and being like, hey, you got a problem. I mean, that would actually be kind of fun. What's your problem? That's not what I'm saying, right? But like, we're solving problems. So think about it right now. Lack of inventory is a problem. Competition for the existing homes has been a problem, especially for first-time home buyers. How do we solve that problem? Well, how we structure offers for them solves the problem. Can we do pre-inspections? Can we give them guidance? Are there things that we can do? How do they compete with a cash offer? Right? So if we have them approved properly through our lender, right? How can we set them up for success? What makes us different, right? How do we combat the rates? Now, everyone was like, oh my gosh, if I see one more date the house, what is it? Date the house, marry the rate. Yes. But the whole point is, how can we make sure we can get them the house that they want, that they can afford? How do we set them up for success, right? For sellers, what's their problem? Well, they maybe haven't made the improvements in their house that they need to, right? There's a lot of work to do. How can we set them up for success? Well, I can get the contractors over there. What can I do, right? Pre-inspections before their house goes on the market, help them with house cleaning, help get movers and stagers. Those are the things that we do. Those are the problems we solve. So we got to solve more problems, right? So yes, Our experience is important, but I will tell you, for everyone that says experience, have you ever been beaten by a new agent? I bet you have. And if you haven't, you're not getting enough at bats. Like, and it blows my mind, right? I'm like, I'll say, well, it's my 29 years. 29 years. And someone goes, oh, she's old, right? Like, how is their interpretation of that? So 29 years, and I've done it many times, but here's the problem I can solve, right? So, because again, I want you guys to think about this. If we lined all of you up here and everyone said, so if I were interviewing 100 people, God, that would be insane. But, and you all said, I'm a great negotiator. Cool. 100 great negotiators. Sweet. And 100 of you have really great experience, right? And that you're trustworthy, right? And you have knowledge, right? But we got to demonstrate it, right? So to me, that's where when I tell you it's like, okay, we're solving the problem, my knowledge solves the problem, but I've got to demonstrate that. Does it make sense? Because I think we've all gotten really used to like, well, it's my experience, but there's a new realtor in town that's killing it, right? So they don't have experience, but what they figured out is how to get in front of people and solve some problems. So I want you guys to really think about this as you're looking at, okay, we're coming into the end of the year, we're coming into 2025. We've got to be thinking about our pillars of leads. So I need you guys to think about your business as like, it's on like, those cool houses on the beach. Unfortunately, some fall over, but they're on like 4 pillars, right? So you got pillars of business. So if you only had one pillar, it's like the plate lady on the bike, right? That's spinning the plate falls, you're in big trouble. So I want you to think about like your pillars of business. Are you taking care of them? How are you taking care of them? What are they, right? Because if one pillar fails, like I have students, it's like all of my business is with a builder. Uh-oh, right? Because if that builder goes, see ya, then you're in trouble, right? So I want you to really think about your lead generation per your pillars and what you're doing, right? And how you're evolving for example, your past client database, right? So if they're now moving every 14 years and not every 3 to 5 years, then I've got to replicate that business that I would have been getting more every year, right? Like if it used to be 60 people were moving in my database and now it's 30, picking numbers, then clearly that's half the business. And I'm not willing to just go, well, that's too bad. I'll just sell half the houses, right? Or I'm just going to go buy leads. Nah. So I want you to really think about it. How's your database? Like if you right now were taking a quiz and you were going to be honest, like I hooked you up to one of the, what are they called? The like lie detectors and said, how's your database? And everyone's like, oh, it's great. Is it going to go like, is it going to give you a shock? Because it's really not good. But if you think about it, it's like, how have you been loving on it? How have you been updating it? Could I ask you right now, if I walked up to you and said, hey, I want to see all the birthdays of all of your past clients. Could you show them to me? Do you know their home anniversaries? Do you know where they work right now? Have you talked to them at a point that I could tell you, hey, pick up the phone and call this person? Would you have 17 heart attacks? Or would you go, sweet, I just, talked to them a month ago, right? So, and then what value are you providing to them? Because we all heart referrals. There's nothing that, I heart them. You heart referrals and you're available 24 hours a day. Stop saying that. But then I'm like, what's the last connection you had? What's the last service you provided back to those clients, right? I want you to really think about it. And if it's, well, I sent them a just listed card, that's all about you. It really is, right? Like I told them I'm fantastic. Nope. So I want you to be in relationship with them. And I want you to provide them a service. So I want you to think about, and if you're like, I mail to them every month, awesome. That's fantastic. When's the last time you called them or saw them? Can't see all of you, but everyone's like, gotta go. So I want you to really think about that, right? What's the last time? If you picked up the phone, would they be like, who dat? Who you? Right? Like, or would they say, oh, it's great to talk to you. So I want you to really think about, right? If we're providing value to them, let's talk about some tactics to do that. So we say they're what? They're realtor for life. It's almost frightening, right? You're going to open the door and here I am, your realtor for life, right? Like here we go. But what is that? So, okay, think about what, if your financial advisor is doing it right, how often you meet them. Like if you have a financial advisor, hopefully you're seeing them at least once a year. Some people it's once a quarter. That's a lot. But how often are you getting kind of a review called the annual review, right? So if you think about it, I go to my doctor, hopefully y'all do, once a year. I go to my dentist twice. My pesky dentist is hunting me down right now. I should write that down. So, we have our doctor's appointments once a year. We have our financial analysis once a year. Homeowners insurance at least tells us we owe them money once a year, but they should be calling us once a year as well, by the way. Did you get did you whoopsie? Like I whoopsie all the time. Oops, forgot to tell you. That's funny. That wouldn't have been covered. What about us? Are you doing an annual review with them, checking in with them? How are you doing? And this isn't about how cool you are and is it time to move? This is, I'm the expert. I told you I want to be here as your constant resource, right? How do I do this? So we have an annual review program and you can do it several different ways. There's a letter. Yes, I will share these resources. So in case anyone's going to ask, I'll make sure that everyone has them. There's a letter that you said that says, hey, I want to be your resource. And therefore I'm introducing this program if you're not doing it already. It's an annual review program. And what you do is you send the letter the month before the program. So in other words, this month, it's September. Everyone is getting their letters for their call and their review in October. This is how you keep it track of it. So segment your database by the month they bought, month and year they bought their house. And then you would do October calls in October, the letter in September. And you say, hey, I would love to help you and give you some information. Now I will tell you, you can tag a ZMA. I don't know if you guys have heard of a ZMA. So let's use Zillow for good. So a ZMA is where you go in Zillow and you basically pull up their Zestimate and you can say, and I've included your Zestimate, and then you can comment on, wow, it's amazing. It's close, not close at all, or hey, let's talk about this because this is funny, right? So you can kind of, because if you don't think they look on Zillow, you're crazy because they're Zestimating themselves all the time. So you can say, I'd love to catch up with this, as well as, do you need any referrals, right? Do they need contractors? Are they thinking about making home improvements, right? And have they made any? Because you need to know about it because you want to make sure you have that information. I will tell you, I started doing these years ago. I'm going to say the great part about it, and this may not make sense to you, but a lot of people don't want them. Yay, that's okay because I'm providing a resource. But what happens is that I can't tell you I'm not exaggerating, but almost every day, like my brother, who's a licensed home inspector, great thing to do, by the way, have someone who's an inspector on your team. He went out to client's house yesterday because they're having driveway issues. He went out to a house the other day because they were having air conditioning issues. So we are a resource, so we can help them and then connect them with the people they need. So we want to make sure that we're there to be their resource. Sometimes it's honestly about restaurants because my husband's a chef, but how are we staying in relationship with them on purpose to provide value, right? So to me, the annual review, the ZMA is easy, and I can send you the information on this as well. You literally will put a snapshot of their Zestimate in your little letter, right? You just attach a snapshot for it and say, I'd love to talk to you more about this because it's right or wrong or whatever it may be. If you implement this, you will be the resource. Right? I am the resource for the most random things as well that have nothing to do with real estate, but that's my goal. If they think they need something, I want to be their Angie's List, right? I've never been on Angie's List. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but I want to be on Marjorie's list, right? So you need to be that list for them. So I want you to think about what value are you providing to them? And then what fun, like if I'm in a relationship with them, are you doing birthday cards? Right? For them and their kids. Are you doing home anniversary cards? Can you believe it's been 8 years or whatever you may do? Are you in relationship with them? Right? Are you giving them items of value? When the lawsuits came out, I sent a letter to my entire database explaining them, why they mattered to them, and see if they had any questions, right? I need to be that resource to them forever, right? And not the spam to them. Because I say this story, if you guys have heard this before, just bear with me. But if you think about I bought a car and that's fantastic. So I bought a car, bye-bye, I drive away. If that car dealer or that salesperson sent me a postcard every month and said, I sold 8 cars this month, and next month he sells 10 cars, and he's the cubic zirconia of car salesman, I don't care, right? I'm like, you're doing your job. Congratulations. And by the way, there's 30 days in a month. I wonder how much then I'm going down the rabbit hole. But if they send me a card, because I have a car that has all kinds of technology, it's got a little pad in the middle. I still don't know what to do with it. But if he would send me something and said, hey, here's your video of the month of what to do with the magic pad there. And by the way, I have a cool color. Thankfully, it's blue and it stays blue. But when it turns red, I don't know how to turn it blue again. I have to get my kid. So if he would give me the information, right? I would know that. If he said it's time to get your car serviced, here's $50 off. If he said here is a discount for detailing, here is you need tires, right? That's value versus spam in marketing. Does that make sense? So for you guys, what's your kind of genius, right? What's your genius? What are you really good at? What can you help them with? What can you be a resource with them? So if you want to get warm leads from them, be more valuable to them, not talking about you because they don't care about you. And I wish they did. I would love to be like, everyone just cares about me. No. But when you're in a relationship with them, they care about you, right? So I want you to really think about this, right? Also, warm leads. You guys want a free source of warm leads? Do you like one? Free. Do you know what it is? It's current client referrals. Oh my gosh. We talk about these and people are like, ooh, that's a great idea. And one day I should do it. One day I'm going to think about getting a current because it's free. Now, if it costs a lot of money, I'm in because then I could just spend the money on it, right? Like it just makes me laugh. So a current client referral are the referrals from your current clients. And so they're actually easy to get if you set yourself up for success. So if in your first presentation with them, you explain how you work and you explain that your job is to take amazing care of them and that you're going to ask them from time to time when you're blowing them away, you're going to ask them who they know right now that needs to buy or sell. Because here's the fun part. Once you do something, you start to pay attention. So do you guys know what a reticular activator is? Do you know? Do you know? Ooh, oh, come on, realtors. Reticular activator. You all need to know what this is because you know how you're like, I don't like to ask and whoopsie. So reticular activator. Yes, I see some people. So your reticular activator. So I bought a car. So I did buy an Audi. It was used and it's blue, right? I bought a blue Audi. Cool. I can't go anywhere anymore and I don't see blue Audis. Now I promise the whole world didn't just buy blue Audis, right? Yes, it's also Ninja. I used it before Ninja, I promise. I'm just looking at comments in case people think I have Tourette's. I am looking at comments while I'm talking. So, blue Audis. Okay, so why do I notice them now? It's because my reticular activator has been turned on. So it's like when you guys start thinking about doing something, it's also that your phone is spying on you for sure. But it's because you start opening up to it. So when you have a new client that says, hey, you're meeting with them and they want to talk about selling or buying, they're going to hear all of a sudden, they're going to see commercials on it. They're going to open magazines about it. It's going to be everywhere. And it's not just because they're being tracked. So what I ask them to do is, hey, when you're talking to friends and family and coworkers and they say, you know what? I'm thinking about selling my house. Then what I'm going to ask you to do is say, hey, do you have a realtor? I would love to talk to Marjorie. Is it okay if I connect you guys? And I'm going to teach you how to do that. Because if you just say, give them my card, it ain't nothing, nothing's going to happen. But if I want you to think about it, if you do it in your initial presentation, and then if you listen, like your reticulator activator is turned on, and then you listen and they say, oh my God, those flyers are fantastic. Oh, we just love how you did this open house. You were amazing in the negotiation. You say, don't say thank you. Well, you can say thank you first. You say, oh, like, thank you so much. Who do you know right now who also is thinking about, who would love a great flyer, who really would love a magic open house, right? Like tie it all in. But if you guys aren't asking, you're missing out. And then you can also, in a CCR, you use what's called an all about you form. Don't know if you guys have one. They're fantastic, but it's a way to connect with them. And also if they give you referrals, you can gift them personally based on things they love. So we'll make sure you get an all about you form as well. It's a magic form to get to know them better and connect with them more. I talked to you about warm leads from your VIPs and your business partners. The way to do that is your mastermind. Again, be a resource for them as well, right? Like as much as I love to coach my realtor partners, I love to coach my business partners. So I will get together and have lunches with, for example, with my insurance person and say, you need to send a letter, but I'm not going to let you just send the letter because I love you to death, but it's going to be bad. I'm going to tell you. So you write a letter and then I'm going to edit the letter and I'm going to tell you what realtors want to hear and don't want to hear. I'm going to help teach you how to be of value to the same people you want to get in front of. So how can we connect our homeowners insurance person with more realtors? It's knowing, no, don't spam them this way. Here's information they might need. Like Do you guys know what a clue report is? You should. So your insurance agent can teach you on a clue report and saving issues with insurance. Do you know that it's really hard to get insurance on homes with Quest piping or wood stoves, right? So these are the things that I can help her connect with more realtors about. Same thing with your attorneys or your home inspectors or whatever it may be. If I can be a resource to them in the same way and also teach them how to refer, because in the lovingest way, they're not really good at it. But how can I attend events with them, right? How can I get to connect with their families? How can I really make the relationships with them super strong? And I want you to, like I said, go to networking events. So you guys have to actually get in front of people. So I know it's a lot. I know we're tired, but this is the time, right? Like get on a board, get on it in a networking event, be with in front of charities, right? Like I'm telling you, if you think you guys are having it tough right now, there are a lot of people having it way tougher. So what charity can you get involved in? What organizations can you give time and energy to? And by the way, I don't say this disingenuinely. Like I joke about this, but it's true. Like, please, if you hate cats, do not go volunteer at the SPCA in the cat corner, right? Like, if you don't like kids, do not go volunteer at school. And I joke, but I have people that do this. And I'm like, you understand, you just look, and I'm sorry, I'm going to use a word, you look like a douche. So do stuff with people that you connect with genuinely, that gives you joy and that you can share expertise with, right? Be in relationship with these people. So think about everything I'm saying right now, right? It's like, okay, if you sit back and you say, okay, first, I know I got to work on my mindset. I got a couple more things, but I want you to really think. I know that I heard her say I should start a mastermind. I can do that. I heard her say an annual review program. Yes, I will share the letter, I will share the template, and I will share the call. Because if I don't, it's too scary and you won't do it. I just know, right? Like she said, I had to call someone. I'm not going to do that. The phone is scary. So I will share all that. But I want you to say, what will you, not can you, that's a weak word. What will you commit to? Will you commit to an annual review or a birthday program? Will you commit to asking for a current client referral? And look, I almost beg you to do these things, but they're so much better if you can really spend those time with the people that you do like and connect with and trust. If you can be in front of these people that give you energy and joy. Look, if they're just energy viper suckers, get them out. Like I don't have people, if someone closed with me and they were awful, I'm like, thank you so much. You will never hear from me again. They're gone. Like I don't want to work with them. Do you want to work with their friends and family? Could it be worse? They're the worst humans on earth. Let's get more of those. Nuh-uh. They got to go, right? So think about what you need to do, right? How can you do this? So let's really stand out on top of that in this market, right? Because we talked about generating warm leads. We're talking conversion. If you generate more warm leads, you can convert them. Now I have all kinds of systems and strategies on generation as well as is conversion, right? But to me, I can tell you all day long, if I'm with my business people, if I'm with my VIPs, if I'm with my favorite past clients, I'm going to convert them, unlike a super cold lead or someone that if I don't respond in 3 seconds, they're going to call someone else. That's a much harder conversion. If I am the expert, if I'm giving them value, I will convert them. If I'm chasing cold people or doing things with no relationship, I'm going to have a way lower conversion. Then you better have a massive leads that you're digging through versus a smaller amount of leads that are highly convertible because they're warm. So I want you to think about it, but it's not without you taking this action, right? If you don't develop these systems and take action and be in touch, it's a contact sport, right? If you leave all day and you're like, I didn't talk to anyone, then I bet you didn't sell anything, right? So we got to think about that. Now, this market, I'm ecstatic about this market. I mean, I know people are like, you crazy, and maybe I am, but I am just loving it. And here's why. I think that we have an opportunity right now to just change and to evolve. And I'm going to say another, it's not that bad of a word, but if I can tell any of you guys something, right now there is a herd mentality, right? And by the way, if you haven't read the book, Be the Giraffe, read this book. Chris Jarvis, I interviewed him for my podcast. If you want to listen, he's fantastic, but avoid the herd. So right now, all I hear, I travel everywhere and everyone's like, oh, these lawsuits, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go for listings. Okay. And listings are great. So please go for listings. But it always makes me laugh because I'm like, okay, pumpkin, listings are because someone bought the house first. And if the entire herd, right, if all the buffaloes are going over here for the listings, I'm going over here for the buyers. Because if everyone's like, oh, buyers are bad, no, they're really not. If you're new, you work with buyers, and then those buyers refer you more buyers, and they become sellers who refer you more sellers. That sounds like a great idea. So I'm going to say this, and you should write this down. And I apologize, it's not that bad of a word, but avoid the masses of asses. Okay. So if everyone is going this way, I'm going this way. So when everyone else is out defensively, ooh, a light just went out. It's like, I don't know what just happened. So if everyone, it's back. If everyone defensively is mad about the lawsuits and angry, and I charge this, and this is what I charge. Really? Is that the way to go? Or do we say, oh, it's one of the best things that's happened because this is going to help make it really clear what the value I provide and the charge that I charge and what I do differently. And this is what happened and this is where they came from. This is a great opportunity. Who do you want to work with? The super negative person or the one that's like, this is great? Because by the way, even if you don't think it's great, it's here. So let's really think about that, right? So I want you to surround yourself with positive, forward thinking people. So a lot of people right now that are in the dumps are hanging out with really negative energy vampires. So I will tell you right now, I'm happy to help someone if they're in a slump. I will coach you through it and I'm going to give you tactics. But if you're going to stay in your slump and that energy is going to just make me want to crawl on the floor, then I can't do it. So forward thinking people, forward thinking. Now, I don't mean Pollyanna BS, right? I don't mean the book is Be the Giraffe. And I have tons of books you guys got to read. So I'm going to try not to overwhelm you. Let's start with that one. But how do we be positive and forward thinking, right? We connect with people, we look for opportunity, right? Yeah, it's Be the Giraffe is the book. I'll make sure we put that in the info that we share with you guys too. But let's talk about standing out in this market. One, you have to provide exceptional client service. I mean, exceptional, exceptional. So what does that mean? Right? So I think it's your response time. I think it's your advice and guidance. I think it's your above and beyond services that you're providing to your clients. What are you doing that no one else in your town or office is doing? Are you offering pre-home inspections? Are you offering home cleaning? Are you offering moving services? Are you offering staging services? What are you doing that no one else is doing that you can stand out and above? Because if you don't think that in this market right now, that what's going to happen is that as we have scarcity, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to start dropping their fees, which is an option. So it's just so we're clear, if you can't make it in this market, you get cheaper or you get better. I don't know how much. So if you don't remember anything else, cheaper or better, what are you going to do? I ain't getting cheaper. I'm getting better. But everyone who says I don't have to do anything else, yes, you do. So you've got to innovate, exceptional customer service. So what you should do, if you're smart, you're going to leave our industry. And I want you to see what are restaurants doing? What are financial planners doing? What are hotels doing? What are service industries doing to stand up and above and steal from them? Steal, steal, steal. Steal ideas, right? Exceptional customer service, number one. Number two, perfect your presentation. I mean, perfect it and not about you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They just, I mean, I know we think, oh my God, I'm amazing. I am, and I have a lot to say. They don't care. So, high quality buyer presentation, high quality listing presentation. How do we showcase their property differently? How do we leverage technology in a different way? How do we make a custom cutting edge personalized experience for clients? How do we differentiate ourselves? If you guys aren't working on this now, you better do it, right? Like, because it's got to be like a no-brainer, because otherwise you got to go cheaper. So cheaper or better, show them more. And what are their pain points? right? What are pain points that you can solve? How can we help them, right? And give them more service. And then the third thing that I'll end with is a specialized niche or expertise. So the hard thing is this was a tough one for me because I was like, well, I am good with all buyers and sellers, right? Like not all, like the jack, what's can go somewhere else. But like I don't have, but no, we can't be the master of everything. So what is your unique? How are you uniquely invaluable to your clients? Right? So that to me can be geographically, that to me can be demographically. It can be a first-time home buyer. It can be a move down buyer. It can be a relocation buyer. It could be a veteran client. It does not matter to me, but you've got to have some niche, right? Because what do you really do differently? How are you unique? It can be niche services. Maybe you offer more services than everyone else, right? But you can't just say, that you're an expert in everything, right? Because then you're an expert in nothing. So I want you to really think about it, research your market. Now, don't pick a niche like I am in Charlottesville. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's the middle of the state of Virginia. If I say I'm an ocean front expert, well, there's no ocean here, right? Lakefront property don't have a lot either, right? So think about what your niche is. What makes you different? How do you specialize? How do you show that? How does it value your client, right? So I want you to think about these things because I think these are the keys to success right now. They just are, right? Like, and they're exciting. It's exciting to think about, God, what's my superpower? What am I really good at that matters to them? Right? Not that's something just about me. What can I do differently? How can I amp up my presentation that I'm really excited about? How can I offer service that no one else does? And I love when I come up with services and people are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm on to something. If everyone else is like, gosh, that seems expensive. Yes, it's not because we can figure it out. But I think we need to do that. Right. So I'm super excited. So I also get to tell you, we are doing realtor coaching now. So we have lender and realtor coaching with Next Level. We have an event coming up. I don't know if there's a slide. I'm sure there's a way to make things happen with the screen. I don't know how to do that, but apparently there's something that we can share with you guys. We are going to be in California, October. Oh, is it coming? Yes. Thank you. October 29th and 30th, you would get there the 28th. It's super exciting to me because it is going to be mastermind style. We're going to have classes, we're going to have breakouts, and it's really going to be and Burn the Boats. So, Burn the Boats is also a book that you should read. I know if you don't read, you're in trouble with me, but it really is. There's just only a way forward. It's time to move forward, right? So, we would love you guys to come. It's super reasonable. And we're going to have lenders and realtors, which is my favorite thing on earth, because I will tell you, I learned so much. I love to go to the lender classes too. I'd love to see the business partners that I work with, my lenders, what they do, what they're teaching, what they're learning, how they're innovating to make sure on our buyer side that we're getting the compensation that we need. But this is an amazing opportunity that we're going to have. We will absolutely do some downloading. There's going to be all kinds of great stuff. I would love you to join us. Obviously,